With the tension on unrest in the Middle East and North Africa, critics of Georgia say that its government needs to become more aware of potential anti-government sentiment. While Georgia has experienced a lot of growth and development over the past decade, opposition parties to the president argue that more needs to be done to directly aid the population. But in a country where big parts of the capital city first got electricity just in the past 7 years, not every task perhaps can be solved at once.
Of course, it reflects upon us as well, and I think it's hard to predict, because the problem is that what we see, that this is still a union of countries with very different monetary culture, generally governance, the way how the governance is done, and that's exactly what the lessons for other aspiring, non-EU but European neighbors of the European Union. And actually that's what I'm saying, you know, there are models like more kind of Southern Europe, more chaotic, more loose on, let's say, borrowing or government expenditure, or indeed also on corruption in a number of cases, and more developed European models. And we are in Southeastern Europe, and our, you know, in a way, it's a very Mediterranean country in terms of psychology here.
But do you see more of a divide between strong North and a weak South?
No, it's not about weak. I don't think it can be described weak-strong. It can be described in the way how the government approaches the whole thing. And, you know, in a way, it's a good lesson for us that no matter what our, you know, daily culture is, and Georgia is distinctly, you know, part of wider Mediterranean culture in many ways, we should learn to be efficient as Northern Europeans, as, you know, the best of Western Europeans. And it's doable. Georgia has proven that it's doable. And by the way, you know, because there is now this hangover from some new members or from old but not really performing members, European Union is approaching us more strictly, and it has a very disciplining you know, improving effect on us as well. In a way, this kind of raised standards are not bad for aspiring countries around the EU, and I think Georgia will only benefit from that.
Do you see similarities now between the protests that are taking place in the Middle East and North Africa and some of the anti-government protests taking place here in your native Georgia?
Well, I think that when you draw similarities, they are with 2003, actually, when we had Revolution of Roses. And it's not only me seeing those similarities, but I was quite surprised when after that I used to travel extensively also in the Middle East to see some people also coming here from Lebanon, from North Africa indeed, and they were fascinated by Georgian experiments, because it was first ever televised revolution. It was televised live for you know, days and days. It was vivid expression of people's power. The whole change happened without a single window broken, and I think that really captured the fantasies of people, especially in that region, that was beyond my imagination. I mean, people in 2003 revolted in Georgia against corruption, inefficiency, failure of state, against chronism, against injustice. And I think these are the things that also happened very much and replicate itself in other places in our region, like Ukraine, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, but now I think more and more in Northern Africa. Now, that's where the comparison ends, you know, because, I mean, if we get some anti-government protests here, that's basically will only have, you know, it will be like anti-government protests anywhere in more or less developed democracies have.